So I finished my second bar graph, and then I went ahead and I created the other two just to finish off this infographic. And I created these in the exact same way. So I made sure that I made the bar lengths the correct proportions so that they are comparable with the other graphs in my layout. And the only thing I really have left to do is to add the map here that shows the 12 states with the most registered cats and dogs. So before I do that, I'm going to go to my layers panel, and I'm going to lock my artwork layer, and I'm going to create a new layer called map, and I'm going to open my map document. And we really are only going to be working with this one map over here, and let's just see how this is constructed. So we've got a grouped shapes of the states, and then we have these individual abbreviations for the states. So for now, let's just drag a selection over the entire thing, and Command C to copy, and then let's Command V to paste that into our map layer. And I'm going to resize this so that it fits correctly inside of here, comfortably. Alright, so we want to customize this to look good with the style that we've developed for our layout. We want to change the colors, and we want to get rid of some of these state abbreviations that we don't need. We just want to visually simplify it. We only need the abbreviations for the states that are a part of our graph. So how are we going to do that without having to select each individual state? What we can do is let's drag a selection over our entire map, and then let's shift click someplace on the map, and that's going to deselect the map and keep our abbreviations selected. So there they are. Let's copy that and then hit delete, and then lock our map layer, create a new layer, and let's call this names. And then let's Shift Command V to paste in place onto our names layer. Now that we have our names separated from our map, we can start selecting only the abbreviations that are part of our bar chart. Those are the only ones that we're going to be retaining. So I'm just looking at the reference and clicking the ones that I need. So North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, Washington, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York. We need New Jersey, and we need that little line. Whoops. And we need Massachusetts, and we need that little line. And this can be a little bit hard to do to get them all, but let's drag these away to see what happens. Let's see, it looks like I do have all of them. No, I'm missing Illinois, so let me grab Illinois. So I'm just shift clicking on the IL, and then okay, and I also need Michigan, so let's shift click on that. I've got Michigan now. And that looks like it's everything. So I'm going to Command C to copy, hit delete. I'm going to lock my names layer, and then I'm going to create a new layer, and we'll call this names to keep. And you don't have to name your layers like that, but it just helps to keep things organized. And then I'm going to Shift Command V to paste my names to keep onto that layer. I'm going to lock the names to keep layer. I'm going to unlock the names layer. So now we have a couple of options here. We could select all the names that we want to get rid of and then just hit delete, or we could just simply lock the names layer and hide it. Let's say that for some reason we thought we might reuse this map on a different graph, or something like that, we might want to keep those names there. So let's do that. We'll just hide that layer, keep it locked. Let's unlock our names to keep layer. There they are. Select that layer. We're going to change the color of these abbreviations so that they match our background. I need to select my names, so I'm going to drag a selection around all of my names, and then I want to make sure that my fill color is forward, and then click on the color we're using for our background. Alright, now what we can do is lock our names to keep layer and unlock our map layer, and then click on our map. And then with the fill color forward, we're going to fill this with our neutral color, and then we're going to bring the stroke swatch forward, and we're going to fill that with our background color. So now our map is starting to look visually consistent with the rest of our layout. One thing that we could also do is these little lines that are going to the small states. Let's fix that. So these also need to, well, these are going to be brown because those are out in the background, and then the state abbreviations that are out here on our background, we do need to make dark brown, but we want that to be fill, not stroke. Alright, so there we go. So all of our abbreviations for our states in our graph are visible. Any state that's not included in the graph is not visible. And what we need to do is start to find the states that we want to illustrate our bar graph and change the color. So I know from our bar graph that North Carolina, and I need to unlock that layer, North Carolina is only in the top 12 for dogs. Let's ungroup our states so we can select them individually. And if we drag them out, we can see that each state is its own separate object that we can apply a fill to. So that one is going to be purple because that's for dogs. And Massachusetts is for cats, so that's going to be pink. And then the other states, the remainder of the states, are going to be a combination or a blend of the pink and the purple. So it doesn't really matter whether we start with pink or purple. Let's just select all our states, and this is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so we need to select that as well. Is that okay? That's part of our selection. We need Illinois, we need Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, and Washington. Alright, so all of our remaining states are selected. I'm going to choose pink for the color. I'm going to Command-C, Shift-Command-V to paste in place. Choose purple. And then I'm going to go to the transparency panel, and for our blend mode, instead of normal, we're going to choose multiply. Now the problem with choosing multiply for this is that it also multiplies our border and makes our border a different color. So let's make another copy. Command-C, Shift-Command-V to paste in place. Let's make our fill none. Bring our stroke swatch to the front, and let's make the transparency on that normal. And so now we have our map. The very last thing that we need to do on this, aside from just double checking and proofreading and making sure that nothing's out of alignment and everything looks just the way you want it, is to create a key for our map so that people understand what these colors mean. So to make a key for the map, we can just drag out some boxes, and we can just change the color fill for our boxes. And we need one box for each. We need a box for cats, a box for dogs, and then a box for both. And we can create that box for both just by Shift-Command-V placing one pink, one purple box right directly on top of each other, and then going to the transparency panel and choosing multiply. And then I'm going to group those so that they don't get moved out of alignment. And we could use the distribute or array for something like this, but there's only 3 of these, so we should be able to just space these manually. So let's get our text in there. I'm going to drag out a text box, type in the word. 12 is the right size. We could make this Avenir regular. Let's change the alignment to left. All right, and then you just want to make sure that you space this so that it looks nice, it looks even. I'm going to group these together so that I can move them together. And I can always resize this map if I need to. Alright, so I'm just styling this so that it looks nice and that the style is consistent with the rest of the infograph, but that it does look like it's a different type of information. I mean, this is the first time we're using a key. And for this one, I'm always looking for ways to align various elements to make my layout look neat and organized. Okay, and so I dragged a guideline there, and I'm just moving that up. And it just takes some adjustment. All right. All right, I realized that I forgot to select and color a couple of my states, so I'm going to go back and fix that. So we need New York and New Jersey. So I'm going to just do the same thing, copy, and then Shift-Command-V to paste in place, then change the color again, then go to the transparency panel and choose multiply, and then Command-C, Shift-Command-V to make another copy. Let's make the fill none, and then we'll make the stroke. In the transparency, we'll change that back to normal. All right. So it looks like I got it right this time. And now that our entire infographic is complete, then that's what you want to do, is make sure that you have everything correct. Nothing's out of alignment. None of the states are missing. All these numbers are based on the data that was given in the Word document, and all these bars are proportional with each other within the same graph and also for the other graphs in the infographic, so it's all comparable.